service. I've been involved with the community for decades, seem to have a lot of interests, and particularly in planning and creating projects that are successful. Currently, I'm on the Planning Commission for the City of Fargo. 4 years ago, I started the Fargo Neighborhood Coalition, which is a group of neighborhood associations. Any neighborhoods can belong. It seems that primarily the core neighborhoods are involved, but I also have encouraged everyone who's interested in neighborhoods and how they connect to one another to participate. So we continue to have meetings when issues arise, and leads me into many other things. I've always been involved with historic preservation. Currently, I'm involved with a tree master plan for the city of Fargo with the city forester. The Parks District forester is on that board, so we've been having a very nice time working together. I have worked with the Parks Department before on the redevelopment or the development of Jefferson Park. I've been interested in all of the parks since I was a child. And it's been fun at different periods of time in my life to go to the parks for different reasons. And that's been part of the format of what I'd like to see done with the core neighborhood parks in particular, is to create specific functions. Extending out to some of the new parks that are being created in new developments. I'm encouraging neighborhood associations to take ownership. You can adopt a park. And what I would like to see is for these new developments in neighborhoods to come up with ideas for what kind of park they'd like to have.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry. Jerry Rostad.
Thanks, Barb. First, I want to call out the League of Women Voters of the Red River Valley. 100-year anniversary this year for the League being in service to our country, and the empowering voters and making democracy work is their slogans, and I sure appreciate you guys being here. I also want to thank my partners here on the stage, Rick Grollam and Don Morgan, for putting themselves out there. It's a challenge to go out and campaign and vote, and so I want to acknowledge their willingness to do that and be in process for getting votes for the Park District Park Board job coming up on June 9th. I'm currently serving as the Park Board President. I also serve on the Park District Foundation. My wife Tammy and I raised our 2 children in Fargo. We've lifelong residents of the community, and I've been involved in a lot of civic groups over the years. I chaired the Roger Mayer Celebrity Golf Tournament the past 2 years, and I've been involved with the tournament for over 30 years. I'm a Southside Commissioner of FM Athletics. That's a youth football organization, and I've been involved with that for many years, and I'm a high school state tournament minor official for hockey and football. Retired Navy captain. I served 28 years in the Naval Reserve. I'm a part of the Fargo American Legion Executive Committee and North Dakota Council of the Navy League. Some of the things we've accomplished over the past 4 years during my tenure as a Park Board Commissioner, we completed an 11,000 square foot indoor baseball facility near Fargo South High. We completed the Rodney Webb Golf Park at the Edgewood Golf Course, the Urban Plains Park and Brant Dog Park, Brant Crossing Dog Park down near the Urban Plains Center is something that we've accomplished these past 4 years. We put in 5 new parks just in the past 2 years, and the list goes on. So I'm back. I want to run again. I want to get reelected and continue the great things we're doing in the Park District.
Thank you very much. Now we will start with our first question. All of these questions were submitted by members of the public. The candidates have not seen these questions in advance. So we will start with Don Morgan. COVID-19 has changed the world right now, and that includes closing playgrounds and indoor activity centers. How would you support our community's health but allow for recreation to still occur during these times of pandemic?
There is recreation that's non-organized, and so I've been actually doing a walk around Island Park on Friday mornings where people are social distancing. I think there are many things that people can do to get outside and get out in the sunshine and the fresh air. I think the caution would be to follow what the physicians are saying. As the city is making decisions about all the rest of the entities, I think the Park District needs to be involved with that. And so we're, rather than operating independently, are all working together for the better good.
Thank you. Jerry Rostad?
COVID-19 is the most important issue facing the Fargo Park District and most other organizations, quite frankly. As we look to reopen, the most important piece of our organization is the staff. We've got a great staff. They've continued to work through the pandemic and following the social distancing and the other guidelines. And as we've begun to reopen our parks and everything, we've been following the guidance that have come out from the CDC and from the state. Yesterday, the CDC released guidance on opening swimming pools. We're waiting for Governor Burgum to provide his guidance on opening swimming pools, and then we'll proceed accordingly for the Fargo Park District. We've got our golf courses open. We closed the playgrounds for a while. We've reopened them, and we've had good success so far in terms of having our patrons follow the social distancing guidelines. And obviously, it's very important to have those amenities available to people to get out and just get away from the stress of the news of the COVID-19.
Thank you. Rick Grollam?
Thanks, Barb. So COVID-19 has been a real concern to not only our community, but to the United States and the world. And one of the things that I find is a real issue with us is safety. My vision and what I do for the park system is the safety of all the citizens within our community. And what we'd recommend by that is following the Governor Burgum's recommendations, CDC and Fargo Public Health. We would have daily briefings, which I would be working between Fargo and the rest of the state of North Dakota on finding out how they're handling their COVID issues. And another very large concern for me and why I'm running is with the budgets on how COVID-19 has affected the tax revenue that's affecting the park board, and it will be the lost revenues of the user fees coming in, and that's one of the issues that we'd have to take a very serious look at due to the COVID-19.
Thank you. Next session, we start with Jerry Rostad. COVID-19 will be a concern for months ahead. How should the park board monitor the virus in Fargo, and what evidence would you use to decide to close reopened indoor and outdoor facilities?
Well, we've been monitoring it all along, and we will continue to monitor it. The staff is doing just an outstanding job of keeping on top of guidelines, and they've got a 3-phased approach for opening things, opening our parks, our amenities, and so they've done a great job of putting that all together. So we're already doing what the question has asked, and that is taking care of watching what's going on, monitoring it. I've been in contact with Mayor Mahoney a number of times over the past few weeks and months, talking about what the city is doing, coordinating that back with the Park District. So we're on the same page with the city and with the county. So we're already doing that. We'll continue to do that, and we'll make sure that our parks are providing us safe opportunities for our patrons as well as our staff.
Rick Grollam?
There's many issues that we could do to monitor the COVID-19. First of all, signage throughout Parks and Recreation, maintaining social distances, educating, reminding people to carry hand wipes and disinfectants with them. We would be, and I know like Jerry mentioned, there's 3 phases they'd be looking at. One phase is, phase 1 would be just, we got to get the kids out, we got to get them back active within our community. We got to get the kids on the baseball fields, soccer fields, playing tennis again. That's phase 1, maintaining social distances. Phase 2, we got to get the games going. We got to get these kids into competition and keeping the exercise and the mental health going. Stage 3 would be tournaments and other games bringing in, which is very important, senior citizens. At the same time, we have to really pay attention and make sure senior citizens are protected.
Thank you. Don Morgan.
As far as monitoring the changes and adaptations that we'll need to make, it seems that the information is coming from outside sources, including within the city. We have been reliant upon Governor Burgum to issue statements regarding what is acceptable in the state of North Dakota. I think it's very important that things can slowly move back to normal, especially for children, because they don't have the sensibilities to be cooped up, and I don't think that they should be encouraged to be watching any more video games. The more we can get them out playing and in the parks, playing games and creating social ties with others, all the better. So I think we have good advice that we can rely upon, and that we shouldn't be fearful of taking that advice and moving forward.
Thank you. We go back to Rick Rollum for the next question. Beyond the challenges presented by the pandemic, what do you see as the top current issue facing the Fargo Park Board, and how would you address it?
Well, there's many issues we're looking at, and I know Jerry and the Park Board has been doing a great job. And one of the goals that I have is being a real partner in listening to the administration and working along with the administration hand in hand. Number one is safety. Safety is the most important part in our community. We have to make sure the elderly, the senior citizens, the youth are all protected and are very well aware of the COVID-19 and the structures that Park Board has in place. Number two is very important, is a budget. We cannot raise taxes. We cannot raise special assessments. And I know we're going to have a real short budget fall with businesses being closed, tax dollars coming in. I know there's about a $1.6 million deficit because of user fees, Courts Plus, and golf courses are not open. We've got to get these courses up and open, and our senior programs. It's very, very important that we maintain senior programs within our community. Meals on Wheels, transportation, making sure we keep their mental health.
Thank you. Don?
So the question was, what would I be bringing to this,
What
to the
what
Park
would you,
Board?
let's see. What do you see as the top current issue beyond the pandemic facing the Park Board, and how would you address it?
Beyond the pandemic? Well, one of the things that I have to offer is that I've been involved with entities such as the schools and the city and the neighborhoods, and I feel that the issues will come up one at a time. I know that there's a master plan. I'm not totally familiar with it, but the Block 9 Plaza is number one. I think that that's the one happening this summer, and everybody's going to be so happy when they can get downtown and go to downtown, kind of an urban setting for celebrations. It's incredibly important that, as we said, the kids get out and that there is safety for the park's employees. But these safety issues seem to be receding, and in many cases, we've been very successful in protecting our citizens. So I think,
Sorry.
just going forward slowly and cautiously and working with problems as they arise is always the way to go.
Thank you. Jerry Rostad.
Actually, we have multiple top issues that have worked through all in a complex environment that we have to handle together in unison. Obviously, Rick talked about the budget. We've certainly got to work through the budget. We've done some preliminary estimates. We can see our way through this fiscal year, and that's good news for the Park District. Concurrently, we have new projects that are coming online. We've got the Broadway Plaza, which is called Block 9, or referred to as Block 9 by Don. That's going to open up, we hope, by around the Holiday Lights Parade time. We've got the sports complex that's indoor turf, ice, and courts that we continue to want to plan for. We have master planning of Lindenwood Park, Island Park that we've started the conversations. We need to keep that going. And we want to work with our youth partners like Fargo Youth Baseball that has just developed a 5-year plan for developing baseball down at the 42nd Street baseball complex down in South Fargo.
Thank you. The next question, we start with Don Morgan, and this one, the person who asked is asking you to use your imaginations a little bit. If you receive $1 million grant for the Park Board to use any way it wanted, what would you do with it and why?
I would invest in the parks and planning because the citizens of Fargo love the parks. I understand that there have been budget problems, but it could be that those problems recover with the enthusiasm of people getting back outside and into the parks. I'm hoping for that. But $1 million, I think, would boost the programs that exist currently and maybe enable us to even do a better job.
Thank you. Jerry Rostad?
We don't have to imagine because we're already doing it in the Fargo Park District. We're working on the Fargo Sports Complex, and we've got partners that have come to the table to help us with the fundraising. They're going to sponsor the building of the project. And if we get to where we want to be with our goals, we're going to have a dollar-for-dollar match, $1 of public money and $1 of private money. And so that's a real benefit for the taxpayer because now we're leveraging our money to increase and build things out. We also doing the same with the Fargo Youth Baseball and Fargo Youth Hockey. When they've developed facilities, they brought skin to the game and helped build the infrastructure that we've got there. And then as a member of the foundation, the Park District Foundation, one of the things that I got started was a match grant program where if an organization comes to the Park District with a project and they offer up half of the project cost, whether it's a park bench in a park or maybe a sound system at Jack Williams Stadium, we've done those projects and so we're leveraging our tax dollars with private donations.
Thank you. Rick Groen?
$1 million grant, that would be great, but if I'm on the park boards, I'm going to be going for more than $1 million grants. First of all, with the grant, instead of investing right away, we'd be taking a look at the budget, making sure our budget is fiscally sound. I would be taking a look at the debt service, which is at about 18%, and I'd be seeing if I could bring my debt service down a little bit. And then what I'd also be doing, talking about grants, that's one of the programs that I would really be focused on with the park boards. And I know Jerry and the park board doing a great job, but I'd be looking at serious fundraising. I'd be looking at grants. The Legacy Fund, there's a program for the Legacy Fund. I know Don was talking about trees. They've got a huge program that we can work with grants for trees. I've already contacted Ducks Unlimited for wetlands within our community. The engineers there, they're usually rural, but they're actually taking a look at coming into communities now. I would be doing sponsorships with NDSU Tree Service and the horticulture, so I'd be looking at co-ops and sponsorships.
Thank you.
So that's kind of the direction that I'll be looking at with the Fargo Parks.
Thank you. Next question, Jerry Rostad. Recreation is a great way to be active, but the park department does not always work to address healthy community. How would you work to promote healthy concessions and healthy eating through the park department? And do you support using park lands for food resiliency, such as community gardens and orchards?
Well, actually, I won't agree to the premise that we're not being healthy. I think the Fargo Park District's done a great job with healthy choices, healthy options. We've done some collaboration work with the YMCA, Family Wellness, Courts Plus. The Fargo Park District is working with an organization called the Community Garden Project, and my wife and I volunteer each week at the community gardens where we come together and put in our crops, and then we harvest them and we share the harvest. So the Park District's been involved with that as well. So I do think that the district is very engaged with healthy options. And then I can't leave out the Valley Senior Services. Valley Senior Services runs our Meals on Wheels program, and that whole program is designed for healthy food choices for our seniors, people that may not be able to get out and about as easily, and it helps keep them in their home longer than having to rely on some kind of public place to live, that a nursing home or some kind of care facility. So we're already doing it. We're doing a great job.
Rick?
Don, that's a great question, or Barb, I'm sorry, that's a great question. In fact, I've already been proactive. I've talked to Todd West. He's a doctor at that NDSU in the tree science, and I've talked to him about programs, worked with NDSU and the tree service, and he says they already are, and they're doing a great job with Sam. One of the things we've talked about are orchards. We think it'd be great to have orchards close to senior citizens and lower income, so there's always fruit and food that's available for senior citizens and lower income neighborhoods. So there's a great variety. The other thing is with our sports complex, I think most of adults right now are quite aware of eating habits, and I see that they are serving more health-wise product at concession stands, and I'm supporting the way concession stands are running right now. I'd like to see more fruits and vegetables there, and health foods for the youth and the parents and the elderly that are
Thank you.
attending sports. Thanks.
Don Morgan?
The best thing that we can do for public health is to get people outside doing things at all times of the year. The Fargo Parks District has been very good at developing programming for its citizens. One of the things that we can continue to do is plant more vegetation, which of course produces oxygen, which makes us healthier, and also makes our atmosphere for everything, including growing plants, producing fruit and vegetable gardens, to be healthier too. So all contributes to the same end, which is all of us being happy and healthy living in Fargo. I think it's really important that we collaborate with other entities instead of, I've been on so many committees where they kind of piggyback on each other and they're all working on the same thing really. So I think that those collaborations are extremely important.
Thank you. Jerry?
I've got that. I thought I started that question.
You start that one? Oh, I'm sorry.
You caught me off guard.
You can start the next one too, Jerry. I think it's coming at me.
Rick, this one is
Yeah, I
yours.
knew
This
that.
is, we are actually running low on time. And so I've only got time for rescue one more question to give everybody time, plus the 1 minute close. But I'm going to just tell you what the other questions were about that I'm not going to be able to get to, so you may be able to put something on your Facebook page or something like that. One relates to new trails at Forest River, Orchid Glen, and Heritage Hills. And if you'd visited these trails, and would you support further development of trails in other flood blyout areas? One was involved walking tracks available to bring kids to ice hockey rinks, and how cold that gets in the winter, and what are your plans to promote families moving more during the winter. And the last one talks about how West Fargo has unveiled its new Rustad Rec Center and indoor playground, and would you make it a priority to add more indoor play spaces for kids? So those are the ones we're not going to be able to get to. Here's the last question of the night, and I believe, yep, Rick, you get it first. How do you plan to involve residents in the decision-making process of the Parks Department?
Oh, you saved the hard question last for me, didn't you? Okay, what I would do with citizens, first of all, it's communication, getting people involved, keeping them well informed on all of our programs. There's a lot of great programs that the Fargo Parks has through Courts Plus and golfing and tennis. What I'd like to do is really make sure there's an awareness through social media. I think right now, even like when we are running for park board this season, it was very difficult because of COVID-19. You couldn't go out and meet people or shake hands or put signs up. So I find it's very important for social media to make sure we have a large imprint through the social media so we can hit just about every community or residents within our community.
Don Morgan?
One of the things that I've found is that there are always people that will speak out and speak out again and again, and then there are those people that have opinions and very valid points that don't get to it. So I think if it's possible to work with smaller entities to organize a little bit better in some of the developments and the neighborhoods and have them contributing to the larger whole, that it's possible to bring out some of those people. And many people will volunteer. For instance, I got involved with the redevelopment of a little neighborhood grocery store in the Jefferson neighborhood that had one time been a stop and go. I, on a committee with the public health, got involved with their planning for putting healthy foods into the store, at least at the front of the store. The business is close to community homes.
Do you have a thought? Can you finish in a couple of sentences?
And we also are working with that little store to create kind of a community center where people can come and bring vegetables and sell things and exchange food outside.
Thank you. Jerry, you get to be the last person to answering the last question.
All right, thank you, Barb. You know, from a commissioner perspective, it's all about networking. We've got a great staff, as I've talked about before. They're out and about in the community, and they're the ears and eyes to what's going on at the different parks and all the programming that we do. At a commissioner level, the networking I've been involved in over the past 4 years and many years prior to getting elected is being involved with the youth programs, being involved with Dakota Audubon, going to their events, talking to people, finding out what they like. Every weekend there's opportunities. Last weekend we were handing out kites and crafts for kids at Island Park and Rowe Farm. And so the networking opportunity is immense, and I could spend probably 3 nights a week doing different things in terms of networking. And I've tried to get out as much as I can and being involved with the Maris Golf Tournament and FM Athletics and talking with Fargo Youth Baseball and all those programs gives you a good sense of what we need to do in the community for the Park District. And so that to me is the right answer.
All right, we will now do 1-minute closing statements, and Don Morgan, you get to start this one.
It's been difficult to cover all these subjects. I want to thank you for putting on this forum and hope that the public will go to the websites and the Facebook pages for each one of the candidates. I've written quite a bit about many of the subjects, and I'm really looking forward to serving on the park board. And from what I'm hearing, it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun, right? Lots of activities, lots of things to do in the parks, meeting a lot of new people, working with new people. I'm just really excited about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Jerry Rostad.
Well, it's very humbling to be up here on the dais hoping to get reelected. That certainly is something that I cherish and treasure that I got elected 4 years ago. So I'm the lone incumbent for this time around. I'm currently serving as the president of the Fargo Park Board. I've been involved a great deal with the COVID pandemic since the early part of March, and so I've got all those neurons and networks going, and I know what's happening, and so I think that I could continue to bring a level of balance and management forward, getting reelected. We've got a lot of things on the agenda that we want to do that we talked about before with the sports complex and getting Broadway Square opened up and master planning Lindenwood and Island Park. There's a lot of things that we talked about. There's a lot of things going on, and it's just wonderful to be part of the Fargo Park District. It brings such a great character and feature to the city of Fargo. It really helps attract economics, big businesses to the community. So it's an important asset that we need to keep going.
And Rick Graham.
Thank you. The Fargo Park is it's actually a true gem of our community. It's a foundation of the Fargo community. And what I like to do is called a new walk in the park with new vision. And with the vision that I have is bringing new ways of improving the budget, listening to all citizens, from the senior citizens, and looking for new programs for the youth, not the young, but the middle age. And I would like to see more of an intramural program throughout the community to get all the young adults active throughout our community. But I've been a very active citizen within our community with all of our children, and we've used every program from tennis to swimming to soccer to baseball, and I just think the Parks has done a wonderful job, and I would love to be part of it to help it grow.
Thank you very much. And I'd like to offer my heartfelt thanks to all the candidates here tonight running for the Park Board. You all make democracy work better, and we appreciate it. I also like to thank all the members of the public who submitted the questions, the City of Fargo, and especially its videographer for their help these 2 nights this week in getting these in. All of the League of Women Voters volunteers who've been here and helped organize building up to this, public access from the Fargo Forum, the Midco and Spark Lake public access channels, and the City of Fargo channels. And we will also have this broadcast linked up on our website, lwvrrv.com, and our Facebook page. League of Women Voters of the Red River Valley. This is my reminder to everybody that this is a vote by mail in the city of Fargo. If for any reason you have not gotten your application in the mail, you can go to vote.indy.gov and online and ask for and get do an application right there. Or if you feel like not sure if it's too close now or something, or you feel like you've sent your application in and haven't gotten anything, I suggest you call the Cass County Auditor's Office at 701-241-5600. That office is run very well and will be able to help you with any of your needs. But everybody get that mailed back by June, no later than June 8th, so your vote will count, and we can have the biggest June turnout ever. Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.